Welcome into the Nashville Game Changers podcast. I'm your host, Jill Jelnick. This is part 2 of our episode with MTSU football analyst and 1025 The Game's Joe Dubin. If you missed part 1, be sure to check that out first. But here is the rest of our conversation with Nashville's media darling. Joe, September is Suicide Awareness Month. We just had a couple days ago National Suicide Awareness Prevention Day. I know that is something very, very close to your heart. Also something you sign off with almost every time you are on air. You finish, and every time I'm listening and you guys are wrapping up your show, I know exactly what's coming. For our listeners that aren't aware, can you describe kind of how you sign off every time and why?
Well, I just let people know that if you are struggling, please reach out, talk to someone. There's a phone you can call, 988 on your cell phone. You can call or text. Somebody's always there to talk to you 24 hours a day. Just reach out and talk to somebody, and to let people know that you are so loved, right? And our world is a better place because you are here. And it's not just talk. I mean, I truly believe that our world is a better place because you're here. Ryan's here. I'm here. We're all here together, right? And we're all fighting a battle. All of us are. But to let somebody know that you are loved and cherished, and to let them know that God loves you more than anything is to me means the world. And I am telling you, in the last 2 years since we've been on the radio show doing this, the amount of men who've reached out and talked has been amazing. It's humbling. It's been amazing. And you got to use a platform for good. Somehow, some way, you got to use it for good. So I just thought at the end of the show, because I'd been through my own mental health struggles, that somebody reached out and talked to me that we should offer the same thing. And, and to see men reach out, and it started with a guy, I had my own personal battle, but a guy reached out and said, I thought you had everything. I mean, you're on TV, radio, and you won awards, and you're doing this and doing that. I thought you had the perfect life. And he's like, I realized that, you were going through something. I said, I am. And he was too. And so he's like, I was done. I was done with my life. And then he reached out and he got help. And that's one guy who's still here, right? So I love that, the fact that he did not give in to the demons, because the demons are knocking. They're knocking every day. You just can't open the door, and know that there's power and strength and people to help you out. And that's why I want people to know at the end of the show every day that we care. We deeply care about, and this is not something to beat our chest on, like, look at us. I don't want any accolades. I don't want anything along those lines. I just want to know that you're okay. That's it. And then you're talking to somebody. Because, Jill, the collateral damage when somebody takes their life is so far-reaching. So for one of my first interns, and I don't mean to take it this way, took his life almost 2 years ago. At his funeral, there were about 6,000 people. And I was there, and he was, I loved him more than life itself, and couldn't help him. I mean, it was just, the demons got him. And I was like, you surely along this path, you knew that you were loved. 6,000 people showed up at his funeral. And it's really, to me, it hit me like, man, there's some people going through some deep things, and keep talking, keep reaching, keep asking. I tell people all the time, you're talking to a friend, like, hey, how you doing? Like, yeah, I'm okay. No, you're not. I mean, ask another question. There was a guy here in town that took his life. God, it's been 2 years now, and he had gotten laid off from a job. I talked to him, and he said, yeah, I'm good. I'll be okay. I said, all right, we'll hook up next week. We'll keep talking, keep going. And then that was a Sunday. And then Friday, get a phone call that he took his life. And I was mad. I was upset. I was hurt. He left behind a family. And I was like, this has got to stop. It's got to stop, because there is hope. And to think that you go through life that there's no hope, I can't fathom that. And I tell people, the hope is us, right? The hope is us, that we have to lift each other up. And he took his life, and I was devastated. And the whole time I'm thinking, could I have asked one more question? Could I have said, hey, meet for coffee? What could I have done? And you realize you probably couldn't have done anything. But the next guy you could help, you'll know, right? And go on. And so we've been on this mission, this passion to let guys know. I mean, it's girls too, but I come from a man's perspective, and to say, look, this is not the answer, right? Talk to us. I'm telling you, last week on our topic on our show, we had people call in, tell us what's good in your life. What are you grateful for? Phones, texts, lit up. People, one guy called in and said, I don't think I have anything to be happy about. And I said, you called in, right? He's like, yeah. I said, you're alive. That's one. How about your kids? Yeah, I mean, they're good. There's 2. You got a job? He's like, yeah, I don't like it. But I said, well, you got a job, though. That's 3. We ended up with like 11 things. He's like, I'm glad I called. And I said, yeah, it's there. You just got to find it. Don't let the demons in. Don't open the door. Know that you got power behind you. And it just took off. I was so grateful for that platform that allowed people to call in and say, hey, what am I grateful and good for? We were on location. The guy walks up and says, hey, I just want to let you know that my daughter had a baby today. It was 9/11. And he said, so now when I think of 9/11, I don't think of I still remember what happened at the trade towers. He goes, but now I got a granddaughter that I see that was born on 9/11 that gives me hope and faith. And I was like, beautiful. And he came up and talked to us. So it was good. Just to let you know that you do have options. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. And then you'll get the naysayers. One guy called in and said, you're wasting your time. He said, you're wasting your time. So I told him the starfish story. Do you know the starfish story?
No, I'm not aware.
So there's a kid, all these starfish wash up on a beach. And this kid's taking starfish up and he's throwing them back in the ocean. This guy walks up and says, you're wasting your time. You can't save them all. The kid picks up a starfish, throws it in the ocean and says, oops, just saved another one. Right? Is that not the best story?
It is.
So I was like, this is so good, right?
Yeah.
So we don't quit, and just know that you are tremendously loved. And I know it's just not words, but we try to make you understand that and believe that. And we've done good work. And it's not about us. We're a conduit from the good Lord to you. That's all we are. And don't want any like, great job. I don't deserve that. I don't want that. I just want to know that you go home at night. That's it. And there are wonderful things in this world, and you're part of this wonderful thing in the world, and never forget that.
You're listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast with Joe Dubin. We'll be right back after this. I love that you use your platform for good. And I also love what you just said. It's not just words when we say that. And I know for you personally, when you say that there is hope, that people love you, that there are so many other powers at be that want you to succeed and live and love, I completely believe you. I know that comes from a place for you that's very personal and inner strength that you've battled with before that hasn't been all that easy. And I think that's another misconception. You alluded to it earlier. On TV, everything looks great, right? We look put together. I look so happy. Instagram, right? Oh my gosh, social media in general. Hey, look, our lives look so glamorous. We're holding the mic or blah, blah, blah. If you saw our 12-hour work days, the 12-hour work day I just worked yesterday for the Titans game, it's not glamorous. Anyways, all that to say is what you see on the surface is almost rarely ever what it really is. And that's something that I know has been a real truth for you. Yeah.
I've been there. I mean, I was at the point where I was done with this world. I was done. And I felt like I had no hope. I knew what gratitude was. I didn't know what it meant. And I tell all too often, God sometimes got to make us uncomfortable. Otherwise, we'd never move. We would never move. And so I've been in that dark place where I said, all right, I got the option. Nothing's going right for me right now. I'm done. And I'm telling you, the good Lord spoke to me and said, do you want this to be your kid's story? Hey, what happened to your dad? Well, took his life. And it hit me like, I don't want that story for my kids. And then my life, spun around and I was like, I got to do good. I can't do this. And I was in a dark place and I said, Lord, you got to help me. I can't do this. And I am down and I'm out. And it's crazy, Jill. 2 days after I said, I'm going to 2 weeks. This was in June of 23. And I said, I'm done, Lord. I need 2 weeks. I can't do this. I'd been through a battle in October of 22. Things had turned a little bit, but I'm still fighting, right? And I'm trying to do it myself. And it's crazy. 2 days after that, I get a phone call from our good friend, Chip Walters. He says, hey, I'm just calling to see how you doing. I said, I'm okay. He goes, we might have an opening for an MTSU football analyst, color commentator. You interested? And I looked up and I was like, all right, this is a God wink. And I said, I'm doing it. He said, yeah, we'll talk to you, 2 days after that, our friend Chase McCabe calls and says, hey, and Chase and I talk every day, and I had no idea this was coming. He's like, hey, my co-host Michelle's leaving, and I want to do the show with you. It doesn't pay a lot of money. And I was like, I'm there. And I was working the corporate world at the time. I'd lost my identity, but I had just prayed and prayed and prayed. And I asked God for opportunity. Don't give me things. I don't want things. I don't need things. I just need an opportunity. And I believed what I was praying. And then Chase called, Chip called, and my life spun around. And I tell people, keep praying, keep believing, because your situation can change in an instant. Mine changed in an instant. That's called hope. That's called faith. And I just kept believing. You got to believe, and things can change and turn around. And that's where the messages started. That's where we started doing the Sunday Scaries on the social media platform. And so many people have reached out like, oh, I didn't know that's what I was going through on Sunday nights. It's like I had the week ahead. And, more men die Sunday and Monday, the end of the day of the week. It's the craziest stat because we go back to work. We're like, oh, God, we got to do this again. And most men, I say, we lead lives of quiet desperation. It doesn't have to be that way. And if I'm the example for that, of how you can turn around, bring it. I'm good. And so I praise Jesus every day for turning my life around, and it works. And I tell us, God is real. I mean, it is so real that you can change your life around. You don't have to do this. And I go back, there's a documentary out called The Bridge. And this guy for a year, and it doesn't sound morbid when I say it, but you might think it is. For a year, he filmed people jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, right? He would find that moment and then go back and do their backstory. And it's so detailed. Well, one guy jumped off and survived. And they asked him and said, when you jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, what's the first thing went through your mind? And the guy said, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Right? So I've been there to that moment. Why am I doing this? And to know that it doesn't have to be that way, and that there's so much help out there, and that people can talk to you and people can lift you up. And that's why I'm doing this, is because we can save lives. We've seen it. We could do it. And the message got to be out there that you are just so loved in so many ways. And a lot of us have been there, right? Have been to that wall, and we've rebounded because the good Lord is there for us, and we have a bigger purpose that we could do. So that's what I do. I want people to know that tough times hit. I get all that, but talk to somebody. Tell people what you're going through. I mean, you could anonymously go see a therapist like I did, right? I went and saw a therapist. Nobody knew. Saved my life. And so just do that, to reach out and do that. And we see more and more now men are doing this, or going out, right?
Speaking out, bringing more awareness, just talking about it. I think men and women talking more about it, which is what we need. We need it to be not necessarily normalized in society, but talking about it and being vulnerable needs to be more normalized in society.
That's exactly right. And so the more we reach out, it used to be like, oh, he's talking to somebody, what's going on over here? It was such a bad thing to go see a therapist.
Stigma, not a bad stigma.
Right. And so it doesn't have to be that way. So maybe by somebody saying, look at you, you've got it all. You're on radio and TV, and say, hey, I've been there. I needed help. I needed to reach out and talk to somebody, and it saved my life. Maybe you could do that too. And I tell people all the time, once you initiate conversation, the chances of something bad happening to you are dramatically reduced. That's why I just tell people, just talk to someone. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Talk to someone, and then you'll find your gratitude. And that's the thing about gratitude. I knew gratitude. Do you know what it meant? Now I know what it means. Mm-hmm. I know what I'm every day. I get up every morning. I ask God for grace, love, and forgiveness. And it works. I mean, it's in my prayer. It's every day when I get up, and I'm so grateful for all that. Then I tell people, look, when good things start happening to you, don't question it. Like, I'm not deserving of this. Or it's not me. No, good things will happen to you, right? If you believe, good things will happen to you along this journey. So don't question it. Don't question it. I just need you here, right? If I got you here, we're good. And then good things can happen. Keep praying. Your situation can change on a dime. And I've seen it. It can do that. Miracles happen every second of every day. Why can't the miracle be you? It can. And so that's kind of where, all full circle, where I am every day. And I love it. I love it.
Well, I need you here. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
And there's no doubt that, Joe, you are the definition of a Nashville game changer in so many ways. You're listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast with MTSU football analyst and 102.5 The Game's Joe Dubin. We'll be right back after this. And I also want to mention you have, by the way, on top of wearing a billion hats, you're also a writer.
Yeah.
And 3 books. We have
We have 5 now.
5 now.
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about these. I know your most recent one is Nashville, We Still Love You.
Yep.
Which love this.
It's done really well.
Started reading this a little bit. Very fun, especially obviously for Nashvillians. Tell me a little bit about your other 2.
So Create the Chaos was the first book that came out. I wrote that about the journey of TV, about when I was trying to get into TV. I told you I had the 60 resumes and nobody talked to me. So I had to be different, right? So maybe take an acting class or a speaking class or writing a book. Create your own chaos, which is good. And I go back, I was in a football game one time and I got double teamed. And I got driven 20 yards down the field, right? It was awful. It was in junior college. And I came back and my coach took me out of the game and said, "What were you doing?" And so I stood up to peek. He's like, "You know, I'm not doing that." And 2 guys double team me down. He said, "When you get back in, collapse, create chaos." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. So I go back in the game. They run the same play. I collapse. They fall on top of me. Our linebacker stuffs the running back. I go back to sidelines. My coach says, "You did it. You created chaos and you helped us out." So create chaos can be a good thing in your own world. So I created this chaos where you would get that's how I got in TV. That's how I got the sports job and being on the morning show and all that stuff. I created the chaos to turn that no from a yes, but I believed in my heart. And so all that is good about that. The best part about this book though, is that I got a call. It came out 3 years ago, like today, September 14th, 15th of 2022. In May of 23, I get a phone call that this book is for sale in the Harvard bookstore.
Wow. Oh my God.
So I didn't believe him. And
you said, no, it's not.
I ordered my book through the Harvard bookstore, and I have it at my desk at work, unopened.
Wow.
Harvard bookstore.
Wow.
And I said, well, we find books that we like that could make an impact, and there it is.
Wow.
And I was like, if they knew that a guy from Donaldson wrote that book, they would throw it out in a heartbeat. But I heard from so many people, Jill, that I don't know who read this book and said, I loved it. It's only like 28 pages.
Yeah.
So it's not like you got to sit down for days and read it.
Right.
But the positive impact it's done with people has been great. And then we kept on. I wrote another one called Screaming at God, that in the midst, and now we don't have that, but in the midst of some bad things, there's always grace and hope no matter what you're going through. And a lot to do with when my mother passed away, really affected me. I didn't go see a therapist. It all came together for years about dealing with her grief. And so it was part of that. And then I was like, all right, let's have some fun. I wrote a book called Lord, Don't Hit That Mailbox, about teaching my son how to drive. And the story is the perspective that you have there, you don't have here. I don't have your perspective there. So when my son's driving, I'm in the passenger seat. I'm thinking, oh God, he's going to hit this mailbox. Don't hit the mailbox. And he's nowhere near the mailbox, right? It's just a different perspective of teaching him how to drive. It's about raising kids and doing all that. Then the next book is We All Walk Together. And that is the battle of mental health. It's stories of overcoming difficulty in your life when you put one foot forward and you find a reason to get out of bed in the morning and you find the hope, and it was really good. The final one was like, you know what? Nashville's taken a bad rap lately. But
Has it? In what way?
Well, Broadway and the partying and all that.
Bachelorette capital.
Yes, right? But I am telling you, growing up in Nashville, Tennessee in the 70s and 80s was wonderful. And these are stories that take us back to those times. Like, it's still a great place to live. It is still a fantastic place to live. And for me in that time, 70s and 80s was great. Ran into a guy at the store last week and said, hey, can I bother you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you don't know who I am, but I've bought 6 of those books.
The Nashville, We Still Love You.
He goes, and I'm giving them out to friends for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
He goes, I'm telling you, there's some stories in here about Starwood and Opryland, USA. And there was a place back in the day called Bennigan's for happy hour. We all on Murfreesboro Road. We all went to happy hour. We all. And I'm telling you.
The whole city was that happy hour.
That happy hour. You had old, young, white, black, gay, straight. It didn't matter. We all went to happy hour. And we all had the best. And we all different at the end of the night, go our different ways to clubs or bars or wherever we went to. But it was so wonderful. It was a wonderful place to go and be. And I put that story on Facebook about Bennigan's, and I got like 10,000 likes.
Yeah.
A couple thousand comments. I'm like, there's something here. And I was like, I need to write a book about Nashville. So we put it together, and then it just took off. And so I'm grateful. I find the gratitude in these books where 3 years ago, I wouldn't even care. But now the fact that it's positively impacting people, I love it. I love it. Yeah. If I only sold one book, but it's a book that changed your life, I'm good. I am so good. So I'm fortunate they have done well.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. I'm glad we have him here. I'm going to have to dive in deeper. My Nashville history only goes as far back
right?
as, really the Bachelorette capital. But so I need to do some more deep dive
it's all
into the
stories
history.
that you're like, oh, I heard about that place. Somebody talked about, I remember that place.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you're like walking that blind. You've heard some of these stories, and we just bring them to light.
Joe, before we let you go, we've got to finish with my favorite segment. I'm laughing because we've only had our opinions this entire podcast episode, but it is called In My Opinion. Free range. I like to give our guests a chance to talk about something other than sports, which we have done a great job on this episode doing. But is knowing you and how fun and also heated and passionate you are about so many things. Is there one thing in particular lately that's been kind of on your mind or lighting a fire underneath you?
Oh gosh, that is such a great question.
I'm talking about anything, Joe, like free range. Like usually this is when I tell coach or a player, hey, like let's talk about something other than sports. What are you interested in? And it's funny what some people bring up, like whatever it is. We had a IndyCar driver, Joseph Newgarden, and he's like, oh, I want to talk about high rocks. I was like, the workout high rocks? He's like, yes. He's like, I'm obsessed with it. Here he is, the final race of the season here in Nashville. And he's like, I want to talk about high rocks because he's so competitive, and it's his competitive outlet outside of IndyCar, and it's a high intensity workout, blah blah blah.
Oh, okay.
But he's obsessed with it. I was like, okay, yeah, let's talk about high rocks.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea.
I'm gonna guess you're probably not gonna talk about high rocks.
I have no clue. I want to go to Red Rocks in Colorado.
Yeah, Red Rocks,
very different.
Very different. Yes.
I think with me it is. I've become obsessed with going to the gym.
Oh, okay. That actually is somewhat similar. Talk about that.
But 45 minutes. I put my time 45 minutes.
Why?
I watched a story one day of a guy was like, it was a podcast, and a guy said, talking to guys, he says, what do you tell a guy who is chronically aware that he's getting old? And I'm 56, right? He says, what do you tell a guy who's chronically aware that he's getting old? He said, I tell him two things: stop drinking, go to the gym, and lift as much weight as you can. And that resonated with me. And he goes, can you deep dive further? He's like, just drinking does you no good. Stop drinking. That's just bottom line. He goes, when you go to the gym and you're building yourself. Mm-hmm. He goes, anybody could do it. Anybody can go to the gym and do it. He goes, just 45 minutes in and out. Mm-hmm. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. Every morning at 6:30, got a great gym in Hermitage I go to, 45 minutes in and out. That's it. Every single day.
Do you listen to music? Do you watch a quick episode of something?
I listen.
You have your podcast or you have your playlist.
Huge Jimmy Buffett fan.
Well, your days in Key West would help explain that, yes?
Yes. Yeah. I love Key West. I love Jimmy Buffett. In fact, I'm going to the concert. We're taping this on a Monday to see the Coral Reefer Band.
Nice.
So I just put it in because it relaxes, and it's 45 minutes, and it takes you away. But when you're building something, and it's funny, I'm lifting more weights now than I did when I was 16, 17, 18 years old.
Wow.
And it's always thing has been like, well, if you go to I don't want to go to the gym, people are going to look at me. I'm telling you right now, nobody cares if you go to the gym. Nobody's going to stare at you. In fact, you might find it's the most helpful people in the world at the gym who are going to encourage you, lift you up, tell you to keep coming back because you'll change. I've seen it. I have seen it when people go to the gym. So that's me. So I'm chronically aware I'm getting old, right? So I'm going to go to the gym. I've stopped drinking, and I go and I lift weights, and I try to do as much as I can. Now, I had a granddaughter a year ago, right? So I want to be around for her as long as I can. Mm-hmm. And I know this isn't part of the thing. People ask me about the granddaughter, and I said, it's overwhelming, but here's the best part. She doesn't know my story. I might get a little emotional here. She doesn't know the screw up that I've been, right? She doesn't know the bad days. She just knows who his grandpa, and that's it, right? And so that's powerful to me. And I want to be here for her because I think it's important, so she doesn't know my story, right? She's going to know me as grandpa. And I think that's a wonderful gift from God with this clean slate that I got. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful love, and it's everything. So go to the gym, stop drinking, lift weights. There you go.
Hug your granddaughter. What's her name?
Lennon Kate.
Lennon Kate is. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say future college softball player. We're thinking Lennon Kate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Something.
She's got a strong name.
Yeah, softball would be great.
Yes.
Golf, not so much. Golf bores me. All right, I don't
push her into the
the
more exciting
softball.
sports.
Softball's more fun. It's a lot more fun.
Joe, this has been so much fun.
Thank you.
Really glad I wore my waterproof mascara today. This has been even more rewarding and just wonderful than I even anticipated. And I knew this was going to be great. Right. I always loved talking to you. And I want to give you again so much credit, not just for all the wonderful things you do, but the way you do them, the love you bring to them, the passion you bring for them, and the intention you have behind everything.
Well, thank you. And I tell people the blueprint for success is you.
Oh.
I mean, God's already given us a blueprint. Yeah. Us. We're the blueprint, right? Yeah. So believe that, understand that, embrace it, love it. You could change the world.
Yeah. Game changers.
Right.
Like, see,
it all works in.
Full circle.
Well done.
Be sure to check out Joe Dubin's books, Amazon. I'm sure you can get them. All of them. Yep. Check them all out. Also, let's tune into the Chase and Big Joe show, 102.5 The Game in the afternoon. And also MTSU football with our wonderful friend Chip. Go Blue Raiders. And Joe, thank you again for being a Nashville Game Changer.
Appreciate you for asking. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks so much for listening to the Nashville Game Changers podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for our next guest. And in the meantime, check us out on social media and YouTube. And when you're there, please like and subscribe.